Hi, welcome back to AM Rome. I'm Z, joined again by Sun Yoga and Winlung from the Roomy Depth, and our guest today, Jennifer Lelani Kahananui,
Oh, you said it right.
or Lelani as we like to call her. How you doing, Lelani?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good.
So Lelani is the kumu of the largest halau in Ashland, which is really cool. How many students do you have over there?
Goodness, I kind of lost track. I honestly did. We have, I believe, 14 children, 8 to 10 beginners, and then I co-teach with Kumu from Eugene for the men and the the intermediate advanced students, and there's probably the men kind of goes up and down. You know, we'll go with 1 to 4 to 3 to 1, and our one stable young man has stuck it through. His name is Ryan. He's amazing. He hates dancing alone. He would love to have some good dancers dancing with him. But and then we have our Elima group we've been together for 10 plus years. So yeah, there's probably 12, 14 of them. But we're also an extension. What makes us the largest, we're an extension from Eugene's. So our name is Halau Hula o Napua o Hawai'i, and it originated in Eugene from our Kumu Pekelo Day. And then he came to Ashland 10 years ago and expanded his school. So,
Yeah. Is he still in Eugene?
no, he's in Hawaii. He moved back probably about 6 or 7 years ago, and they live in Kamuela on the Big Island.
So you've been teaching on your own for 6 or 7 years.
I've been what they call an alakai for
that?
10 years. So that's the Kumu's assistant.
Okay.
So they come down and teach, and then I work on the songs that they've choreographed and taught. So I've been doing that for 10 years.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. So it's like music and dance.
Oh, absolutely. There's no dance without music. Well, I mean, there is, but
Yeah.
I think the boys learned that last night. You guys played a show last night, or Sun Yoga, you did.
Yeah, we had a dance show at Tauntauns in Talent. It was house music, electronic music based, but basically all styles mixed in dance music, and there was a good amount of people. Fun.
was that over the wellness?
There was an event there as well that
Yeah,
my friend
okay.
threw. I was there earlier that night, but this was at Tauntauns Eatery, Artesian Infections in Talent. It's like a vegan, Greek kind of style restaurant where I throw a couple events. We do our hip hop community night there, or Miles Paints and stuff, and we've been a part building that. And then last night was the first dance night. We call it oscillating head music.
Oh,
So,
interesting.
Yeah,
I'm learning new things.
yeah, it was fun. Yeah.
Cool.
Why Eugene? Well, how's the connection come from Hawaii to this area? Like how did it come here?
Let's see. I'll start from the beginning.
Okay.
I moved here in 97.
Okay.
And given I've grown up actually in Utah, hence
Okay.
for those locals out there listening, I do not have the pigeon talk. I have more perfect English. Get me around a lot of local folks from Hawaii and it'll come right out.
Mm-hmm.
But so growing up in Utah, I asked my father as soon as I turned 18, I want to move to Hawaii, and he gave me his blessing and called his sister. And so I actually moved there and started learning more about my culture, how we carry ourselves, the sensitivity to the environment above and below you. I learned a lot from my aunties and my cousins over there. And so I lived there for about 3.5 years. And then I came to Oregon with my ex-husband, but I had I had one beautiful daughter when I first moved here. And then we ended up having another beautiful daughter. But in 2000, I was aching for some culture. You know, it's like I really missed that connection that I had when I was at home, and I was actually very homesick for Hawaii. It's like when I first moved there, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm home. You know, you take that deep breath and you just feel at peace. This is where I'm supposed to be. This is where I come from. And so I was looking for that here. And so there's three ladies. There was Malia Nelson, Lelani, Roberts, I believe her last name was, and Lisa. And those three were kind of doing some hula shows around here at that time. And I met Malia through her mother, who was like, oh, you're Hawaiian. My daughter's thinking about doing hula. And I was like, oh my gosh, please, I would love it. So excited. So I met Malia, and there was three of us in the year 2000s when she started teaching. And there was only three of us that started dancing with her. But over time and stuff, I believe her hula, everybody started getting to, oh, I want to do that. I want to get in touch and learn what I can. And so I think she went from 3 students to maybe over 120 students by the time she decided to move back to Hawaii with her husband. So because of her, I honestly feel in the Ashland area, and also because of Lelani and Lisa, I think those 3 people brought Hawaii to the Ashland area, and they expanded it, and Malia took it further by doing classes, and it just blossomed. So after Malia left, then there was a small group of women that stuck together and wanted to do some more dancing and keep Malia's dances alive and continue to learn and grow. And then they did that for a few years. I joined them towards the end, and then a real kumu who I was like so excited. Oh my gosh, you know, being Hawaiian, you know, I don't mind learning all these things. My Hawaii connection moved back to Hawaii, and so when we heard of this kumu, you know, there was a lot of, you know, well, we don't want to be treated this way, that way, and we're very sensitive here in this area, very sensitive, like too sensitive in my opinion. Because you can't take criticism and without being hurt. It's just a whole different dynamic on how people receive things here in the Ashland Talent area. And I was looking forward to I wanted the kumu that would just smack my hands with a pu'ili, which is a bamboo stick, you know, correct me, chew me out. What are you doing? That's how I thrive. You know, I don't mind being chewed out because, well, I did mind, honestly. You know, I'm just as sensitive. We'll go back. I am just as sensitive. And I'll go home and cry about it. But then I think, oh my gosh, it's going to make me do better. Yeah. I don't want to be that entitled person you need to treat me with like I'm a porcelain doll, you know. I'm not going to learn anything acting that way. And when it comes to our culture, I want to learn the correct way. And there is no would you to how we teach and how others teach. You know, but so, you know, later in the years, you know, when I start learning and stuff like that, I've had to learn how to be myself, be a teacher, but also be sensitive to others' feelings, which is, if I can be honest, can be quite frustrating, you know? It's like, you know, we're here as a team together to learn these things, not individuals, you know? So when we call each other out, hey, can you fix this? Hey, can you fix that? You know, it's for benefit of family. You want to work together as a family, not as individuals standing out.
Of the whole.
Yeah, learn together, because your mistakes might be somebody else's mistakes that you don't even notice. And you'll be like, you know, somebody else might be called out, and I'm like, oh, I'm doing that too, you know, so then I'm going to fix it too.
And a kumu is a title? Is that a certain title that's achieved by someone?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Like
a kumu is somebody who has studied the who has studied hula, there's many types of kumus. You have a kumu of hula, which is what Pekelo Day is, and then I recently graduated to become, which is very, very scary, very scary. But the one thing you ought to know is that not all knowledge is from one teacher. So you have to continue to learn as much as you can, which I want to soak it all up and take lessons from every possible teacher that will accept me. But there's also a kumu in, I don't know, like plants. What do they call those folks that are really in touch with the plants? Botanists.
Okay.
Yes. There's kumu in Ho'oponopono, which is a spiritual guider that tells you how to find peace within yourself, and I don't know much about that, but I do know that Ho'oponopono is very important to center yourself and be able to communicate with everybody. Yeah. Well.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you for sharing this with us. Like
Oh,
you
you're
said,
welcome.
we're learning. I knew that we were going to learn so much. One of the best things about these podcasts, I think, we're going to learn so much about things we don't know about ourselves.
Yeah.
So.
I'm giving you the basics.
Yeah, I love it.
And I think, just like you were saying, I think we love to learn from all different types of people as
Yes,
well.
yes.
And I know as an artist and a musician, I learn a lot from other people who aren't doing what I do. But we all seem to speak a similar avenue of learning.
Yeah.
Like staying open and how we learn. And that's really one of the best things I love about this podcast is it's almost like our logo is the Venn diagram, and there's this place where we all meet in the middle, and we're kind of saying the same things, but with different accents and different languages and different dances. And
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
yeah.
I just want to kind of backtrack.
Yeah.
I hope I don't want to offend anybody who, is very sensitive, because I'm not meaning that in a bad way.
I
Yeah.
agree. I grew up in the hip hop culture. I've been an MC for 23 years. I really like the kung fu, really tough. It was, you couldn't be sensitive in that culture either. It was like you get your feelings hurt real quick, you're out the cipher.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You had to be tough. You had to be in there. You had to be willing to take someone yelling at you too, and really working through that energy. So I've always really appreciated that kind of martial arts attitude of, thank you, sir, may I have another kind of thing. I want to learn from that. I've always wanted to learn the Jedi way, run up the mountain with 2 buckets of water on my shoulder and try not to drop in my mind. So I relate to that, wanting to learn from that kind of, you said like the right way or the culture, the ancient culture, right?
Right. I mean, if you're
Passed
going to do
down.
things correctly, it does take a little beating here and there, whether it's, emotional, physical, whatever it is in the thing that you're doing. So to me, if I handled you with kid gloves, you're probably going to be, how do I say this? You're the person who's been taking beatings and stuff like that are going to come up on top. And then, but, this person's this good person, this strong individual is going to have to take care of the softer person. Nothing wrong with that. But, it's just.
Well, I think it's the times we're in. I think, and it may be because of the internet, and we're all so much more visual with each other now. It's, many people are coming into getting to know themselves and their emotions, right? And who they are and their sensitivity. And it's coming to the surface, and we're all realizing that we're all can be touched so quickly now that maybe we have to go through this to realize, okay, now I'm sensitive. Now I can feel everything. How do I begin to do it be healthy?
Right.
How can I start to create those protection borders where I'm not desensitizing myself, but at the same time, I'm not getting hit by everything, but I can choose and pick, and that takes time and wisdom,
Yes,
and
it
life
does.
has to be lived. And that's something I think that as we all grow and get older, I think we're starting to learn. I know I am at 42 now, having a kid, starting to learn what it is to get older and to accept what comes with that, and learning not to be so sensitive. That's a huge thing with me, not to be triggered by someone that says one thing to me and go, take it in, learn how to respond, you know, instead of just react immediately.
Yeah.
And that's a huge thing with myself. But like wanting to be that kind of, you know, strong martial arts vibe. And then when I get triggered,
Yeah.
you know, at the same time, I'm learning for that balance too.
It's a lot about humbling yourself. It really is. And with the Polynesian culture, you know, it's the word aloha means so much. But, you know, it's hello, goodbye, the usual. But it also means love. It also defines how you carry yourself. If you're going to be saying, I'm going to be a hula dancer and I'm going to show everybody aloha and stuff like that, it's your actions and your body language and the way you carry yourself. Aloha is a way of life. Hula is a way of life. And you treat others like you want to be treated, even though you know, you may not like them, but, you know, you have to have respect for them, you know, and you may absolutely love them. And, but it's basically how you carry yourself. You know, one of the things that, you know, Ashland is known for is, you know, when I go to competitions and stuff, we stand out from, you know, other halaus in California. And we stand out because we are like very loving and we're very open. And the caveat for that is kind of not being aware that you have the humbleness you need to carry with that. You know, it's, you're not aware that you're saying, yeah, I dance for so-and-so, you know, and you'll be all proud. But, you know, when you have a dignitary coming to you, to your kumu, and saying, hey, you know, they're really kind of, a little braggy. And they don't intend to be that way. They're just, everybody here is so proud of where they come from, so proud of what they do. And, you know, there's a lot of proudness. And I think that's fantastic, how you carry that proudness and how you interact with others with that proudness is very obvious sometimes, you know, that you're, you know, you could be all this, but, you know, we had a dignitary come to our kumu this last time and be like, who are these ladies? You know, they're bragging, they're really like carry themselves like they're kind of, the way they talk, it's like they're better than anybody. And these individuals don't mean to come off that way. But they're not aware that they're doing it and they won't be aware until it's brought to their attention. And the only way you can bring that to attention is when you catch them in that moment. At that moment, because you tell them later, they're gonna be like, you know, bless their heart, they're gonna be offended and upset.
Sometimes you got to hold up the mirror.
Yeah, because sometimes I make mistakes, you know, and I've in the past been like, yeah, I dance for so and so, and yeah, I'm so cool, and then in the long run,
I've tried to do that for you.
I know, and I'm just like, okay, you know,
That's
bring
exactly
it on,
what
no,
you
keep it
did.
down, but bring it on, keep it down. So I don't know, it's hard to teach that to anybody in the whole world is how to carry yourself.
You're teaching a mindset.
Yeah.
Which is very hard to teach.
Very, very much. And the best way you can do that is with actions.
By example.
You can't teach a behavior, but you can present how a behavior should look like. You know, I hug everybody, but I didn't get that from dancing hula. I got that from my father. You know, because growing up in Utah, my father is the perfect example of aloha. My dad knew no strangers. He hugged everybody. And I mean everybody. He would hug a stranger in a grocery store and he would be giving him a full Hawaiian love hug, and that person's shoulders would be stiff, their arms would be down to their side, and they'd be like, oh my gosh, who is this person and what are they doing to me? So, you know, and when I lived in Hawaii, that's how we interact. Hey, what's up? You know, everybody's your cousin, everybody's your auntie, your uncle, tutu, your grandparents. And, you know, you just have respect for one another. And then I found myself doing the same thing here. You know, when I first moved here, I started hugging people, and the work that I do, you know, help take care of the elders. They're my grandparents. I love them. And it's not an easy job to do. Somebody's got to do it.
That's right.
So, I always hug them. And I had one person one time just say, "You better not hug me. I am not a hugger. And, how dare you, just pull that on me."
Yeah.
So it took me back. Yeah, I was like, it hurt my feelings. I cried, but I learned a lesson. I'm going to ask you if I can hug you before I hug you.
Right.
Because there's people out there that do not like to be touched, that do not like any of that physical contact. And there's nothing wrong with that. I just need to know so I don't make you uncomfortable, which
Right.
makes me uncomfortable.
Because you weren't trying to make them comfortable. You're trying to show that love,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you must respect. We don't know where they come from
Right.
or the backgrounds. and-
Right.
Which
Yeah.
I think that story is beautiful evidence of aloha, because you were trying to share something with this person, and then they shared something with you. Please don't do that, and that's okay, because
Yeah.
it works for some people, but the world is bigger than you. So,
Yeah.
and you've got that aloha spirit, so you respect his space, and everybody's still friends.
Yeah. We do high fives now.
Perfect.
It's always a white guy. Yep, sensitive white males.
I grew up in a very, very white world.
Oh, yeah,
so
Utah, yeah.
we were the only, yes, we
I've
were
been
the
to
only
Utah.
brown family.
So why Utah?
Ask my dad. But I think my parents are LDS. They're Mormons.
Okay.
And
That makes sense then.
so yeah, I was born in California, and my twin brothers and I were brought to Utah because that's where my dad felt he needed to raise his family.
Now, did he find Mormonism on the islands?
He was born a Mormon
In America?
in Hawaii.
Hawaii? Okay.
Yeah,
So-
the Christian faith was very prominent back in the 1800s. You know, they all came to the islands, and then you have the different dominations of faith, and but my father's father happened to join the. Well, actually, I don't know if it was Grandpa or. I have to ask my family. I don't know how Mormonism, how far back it goes
Okay.
with them.
Merced, that where I grew up, had a large Mormon population as well. A lot of my friends were Mormon, and at that point, I really didn't know what it was. I was just a kid, going to play basketball at the Mormon church kind of thing. And,
Yeah.
as I get older, I learn more about religions. It's interesting, but so I have a little connection to the Mormon religion through a lot of my friends in high school and stuff as well.
Yeah, I'm not a Mormon anymore. I do have to say that. I mean, I respect the faith and whatnot, but yeah, no, thank you. Sorry, I mean, no disrespect.
And,
It wasn't for me.
well, as we get older, we can kind of choose things for ourselves
Yeah.
too. I mean, I was born a Catholic, and I really appreciate how I was raised, and I went to Catholic school and all these things, and it was great. But I found later in life, as I told my very, very strong Catholic grandmother, "I'm sorry, Grandma, I feel like I'm here to kind of define spirituality, religion to myself and to people a little differently, And as I've gotten older, I've realized how much it helped me, and I learned different concepts. But I had to become my own, right? We have to find our own way too.
Well, growing up in the very strict, very, very, very Mormon place, I appreciate some of the things that I have. In the end, on how we see life, it all comes in full circle to, no matter what faith you believe in and where you come from, it's just the bottom line is there is a full circle. Every faith, in my belief, has a bit of the truth, and I believe in God, and I believe, in the greater power, and I believe that if you take care of the earth, you take care of the plants, and you malama, you care for, that it will return the favor to you, and so
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's one of those things.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not dogging, so
Yeah.
go all religions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything that you say so far seems to incorporate community and family. How does that play a role in hula?
Community and family? Oh my goodness. If you are ever, well, let's see, let me think. How do I word this? you come to a place where you learn together. You can become a team member. It's kind of like sports, you know. You learn together, you practice together, and then the more often you end up supporting one another, and you just become family. You know, there's no real way to describe the progress. Really, it just happens.
Yeah.
You know, if you embrace everybody that comes into your life and you're there for them as much as they're for you, or then some, because some are more there for others than others, it just becomes just a family because you're together. You guys all have the same goal. You're learning the same thing, and you want to soak in as much knowledge as you possibly can. And then you end up talking to each other and helping each other with whatever it is you're learning. And then pretty soon it just happens. It's a natural event.
Well, yeah, you guys even go so far as to make all your costumes together for all your
Yeah.
performances, right?
Yeah, I am not a sewer.
Miles can help you with that.
I'm learning.
You got to have. I need somebody who has a lot of patience to teach me how to sew. I haven't found that individual yet.
That's awesome.
I mean, they offer, but I don't think they realize how much patience they have to have for me because I'm not a straight line person. Ever since kindergarten, no matter how hard I try.
Yeah.
There's perfection and imperfection, right?
Yeah.
I don't think you need to sew straight. Just to let you know.
Good.
That's the way I roll.
little crooked's good.
Miles will not be on your judging panel, unfortunately, at the next competition,
Yeah.
though.
I'm very open. I'm one of those emotional, open teachers. I really learn a lot from James, who tends to, like you mentioned, the ruler on the hand, and he's never slapped my hand, but as we work with other people, I see how much people get from his learning, his teaching, and it inspires me to be a little bit more like that. Although I still embrace my non-straight sewing line self. I never want to lose that, but yeah.
If you see some of his mom's work, it's amazing sewing, and I'm sure a lot of the lines aren't straight and all over the place. And you look at it, and you wouldn't even.
I sewed this little book, a little necklace book.
Oh, cool.
Yep,
And the purpose of the book is what?
that's a good question.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah, I like the verb of things. The noun of thing. It's cool to have this, but for me, the art is in making,
Yeah.
and it evolves, and it's. I find a lot of love and aloha, maybe even, and meditation and connection to something greater in the making. So whether it's the sewing or the hip hop or this, it's.
You're very earthy.
I'm totally earthy.
Yes.
I'm totally. It's just who I am.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm an underground earthy person.
Nice.
No, not really.
It's good for the roots down
Yeah,
there.
I got to keep the roots well fed.
And you have. So hula's full of stories. Tell us some stories. Who was the first hula dancer?
I believe the first hula dancer was Pele, sister Hi'iaka Kapulio Pele. So she is, oh my goodness, there's so many. What do you want to learn? Hi'iaka Kapulio Pele was one of Pele's sisters. Her favorite sister, I believe. And Hi'iaka's best friend, who her name was, she had two names, but I recall Hopoi. And before Hi'iaka went on her journey for Pele, they did a dance, and I think it's called Keha'a. And Hopoi taught Hi'iaka this dance. And so before she went, they danced together, and that was on the Big Island.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's very... I love legends. Legends are the coolest things because, if you don't believe in God, it's like you can believe in the different types of gods for like mythology. I was trying to find the word mythology. All mythologies have very common, where they start with God or Ku or what's the Greek god, Zeus.
It's not a different name.
Yeah, so, and then you have a god of lava, and then you have a god of plants, and then you have a god of hula, and then you have a god of ocean, and a certain kind of fish. And I mean, everything that's entitled to this planet, there's a god that's in charge of certain things. So, I mean, it's endless in the mythology with the Hawaiians, and there's similar mythology with the Samoans. I probably said that incorrectly. Samoans and the Fijians and the Micronesians and the Tahitians and the Maoris. All those Polynesian groups. There's similar yet different stories for each island and how they tell the story. So. My favorite is Hi'iaka. She's went through all kinds of stuff for her sister Pele, who is the most temperist person ever. Is that a word, temperist?
It is now.
Yeah.
Probably not.
I make them up all the time.
Shakespeare got to do it, so can we.
Yeah, right.
But her moods are, she's really, really happy. She's really pissed off, angry. So it's just up and down, and Hi'iaka was considered a beautiful young lady. And when you read the story, there is a book on Hi'iaka, and when you read her story, I'm guessing her age when she did the traveling is probably about 14, 15 years old. I could be wrong. But back in those days, that age is considered a woman.
Sure.
She was like middle-aged back then.
Yeah.
She was like in her prime.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's in what we consider the 20s nowadays. You know what I mean?
30s.
Or 30s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
30s.
Yeah. They were
Especially these days.
they were full of knowledge and full of strength at that time.
Right.
So
It's beautiful.
Cool.
I saw a video on Facebook of a men's prison where they were teaching hula
Yes.
to men.
by Patrick McQuickhoney.
Okay, it was beautiful. It was like showing, and they thought it was doing such a reformation job in their spirit and stuff, and it showed them, and I thought that was really neat.
It was a good to see that there's culture no matter where you go. And for those gentlemen in that prison to have an amazing kumu, his name is Patrick McQuickhoney. I have a secret crush on. For
Not so secret
years.
now.
It's not secret now. But he's the most beautiful human. And the way he teaches, it's not typical modern hula. He adds a little bit of ballet and stuff to it. And for him to have that bravery to do that, well, he's just timeless. But for that prison, there's quite a few prisons out there that have a lot of Polynesians there, unfortunately. But, for them to be grounded and for them to kind of be like push back everything that they've ever done and reach for their own roots and go back to where they actually come from. And if this is one way for them to do it, what the heck? It was really exciting to see them
beautiful.
getting in touch with their culture.
Yeah, that was a neat video.
Yeah, it was pretty dang cool. Yeah.
It was something I wanted to remember to ask you about because I was like, something for this, I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I remember seeing that. It was
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah, I watched it probably 20 times. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been to I went to Kauai last year for the first time ever off the mainland here. I never have left the United States, and took our daughter for her second birthday. We want to take her somewhere fun for her birthdays, and we have good friends who live on the island. In like 99, like the 10 best skateboarders of our town, Merced, all left and went to Kauai. and they just bounced, and 8 of them probably stayed. And they all got jobs working on farms, camping on people's farms. And now one of the brothers helps build pools. He does really well. He's actually built a house for his family to live in now and stuff. He's bringing his family on there. And this is a big family, like 6 children. And the parents, he built a house for his parents to live in and
That's
stuff
very
like that.
cool.
It's
So
really neat.
they got involved with the connection of family.
Yeah.
Yeah, because family is very, very, very important.
And in Merced, where I'm at, they were that kind of family. So
Yep.
and it was and they brought us out, so we came out there with family.
Yep.
We didn't go out there just as like tourists. We didn't know anybody. We went right in with people who have lived there for 15 years, 20 years, and with some of the other people they had, and then took us around the island and showed us some things. It was a really beautiful experience to be somewhere else finally in my life. and to be able to experience that was super beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, I've never been to any other islands, but that was my little experience of it. But
The Big Island is full of, if you're like in search of like spiritual connections and stuff, the Big Island is full of, in all corners of the Big Island. I mean, it is full of mana spirit. So much happened on all the islands. But for me personally, I connect most with the Big Island. Probably because my family's from there. I don't know.
for sure.
Could be. It's where my dad was born and raised, and hearing a lot of stories of that, of his. Well, not a lot. My daddy didn't share a lot, really, unfortunately. So, you know, he kind of got in tuned with being in the mainland and living the mainland kind of way, in a sense, with still expressing his aloha to no matter who's around. He doesn't care who you are. He'll hug you.
And it must have been something he wanted for you or his family to experience a little bit more of that, maybe?
I don't think my dad had any real expectations.
Okay.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think if you talk to each of my siblings, there's 7 of us, you know, we would all say the same thing, but that's just how my dad is naturally, you know? Yeah. So,
Which is a good way to be.
yeah.
No expectations.
And he's the reason why I feel like, you know, examples and being a certain way and treating others in a certain way, being the example of how you think others should carry themselves is doing what you expect. You know what
It's
I
an
mean?
easier way to teach people too, I find, or not easier way to teach, but an easier way for people to learn.
Yeah, unconsciously they start, oh.
It's kind of like you were saying about like if someone called someone on something and you were doing it too, you go, oh, I need to.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's almost
like-
easier to calm your own internal waves. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't pick on me.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tita, over there, but I learned from you. Thank you. So, and I don't know. It's overcoming a lot of insecurities too. You know, I have a massive amount of insecurities of not being good enough, but you know. You got to have some of that, right? To only make yourself work harder and stuff like that, you know? Because the women I graduated with, they're amazing. And I was like, why am I here with these 4 ladies? They supersede everything that I'm capable of. And you know, I look up to them so much because they have so much experience, you know, they have all this. They're from Hawaii. I was raised in the mainland, so that's totally different. So I had all these reasons why I should have insecurities. But we went on a boat, the Hokulea, and one of my hula sisters is related to one of the gentlemen that actually ride that ship. And one of the things that I've struggled with this whole time is the fact that, yes, I'm Hawaiian, but I'm mainland. You know, I don't have a lot of connections to Hawaii because I wasn't raised on that land. So I kind of felt like, you know, I actually had one person say to me, and Lelani, you know, act. Like, he was like telling me that I'm being fake in a way. And that really hurt my feelings. And it was because of something I said. I can't remember. I think I was talking pigeon or whatever. And that's when he's like, yeah, no act. That really got to me and to my core. And when I was going through the studying of becoming a kumu, you know, my kumu picked me. So I'm like, okay, I have to realize he would not pick me if he didn't think I could do this. He would not. And then I'm going on this boat, you know, one of the things that the ship person told me, which really brought it home to me, is you may not live here in the islands. You may not have grown here in the islands, but never forget where you come from. And so that was affirmation for me. I was like, I can't forget where I come from. So, you know, my Hawaiian lineage is very important to me. My English, French, German side is not as exciting, so I didn't choose to study that side, but you know, for me at the time. But you know, it doesn't hurt to check in with my mom's side, you know, and learn those ancestral stuff. That's probably exciting than I think it is, because you know, the Polynesian people had a lot of connection with Europe, you know, and so, but I struggled with a lot, and sometimes I'll still kind of struggle. When my friend, my tita, comes down to teach Ashland once a month, I'm really intimidated by her because she got to choreograph all this time for 5 years. The first time I ever choreographed was last year or the year before that, but I didn't know I could. You know what I mean? So and I didn't know I could play the ipuheke, which is like this gourd that helps with the beats and gets those dancers to take their steps. And I didn't know I was allowed to play that. And so I didn't have all those years of experiences to do that. And that's, I'm just like, so now it's my turn to learn and do my best not to be intimidated by her because she's freaking amazing. And, but I see it as a challenge. I'm like, okay, I can be just as good as her someday, Awesome. She started a long time ago. I'm just now starting. So I just have to remind myself of that. But not forgetting where I come from has really hit home. So you can't forget where you come from.
When you became kumu, did you feel really connected to your heritage?
I did. I actually did. When we were, I know this sounds cliche, but I was on the stage and with these 4 wonderful women, and I could barely get my chant out. One of the first chants is, it's called Kunihi Kamauna, and it's basically asking permission to enter. And this was one of the chants that Hi'iaka did to cross over a bridge. And so we use it to ask permission to enter, let's say, a halau before we start learning dances. My whole attention is going to be focused on you. And only you, everything on the outside stays outside. But I couldn't even get that chant out. And then right after that was Kukapunohu, which is a chant to Laka and asking, the god of hula and god of greenery and whatever. You just want to ask for all this help from your ancestors. And I really, really wanted to do my aunties and my uncles and my tutus, my grandparents, proud, the ones that have passed on. It's like, oh my gosh, look how far. I didn't think I could come this far, and I felt like, I'm getting chicken skin. I felt like I was like surrounded by them because I still went on that stage with those insecurities and I can't believe I'm doing this. Look at how great these ladies are. And I felt like my ancestors were on there saying, basically, girl, get over it. This is your opportunity. This is it. This is it. Awesome. So what if you make mistakes? Right. Go for it. So, yeah, I felt I could barely get them out without tears, trying to choke down my tears and then not look out in the audience because there was few people out in the audience that mean a lot to me who have supported me a lot. And your honey's Ashley is probably one of my best friends because she listened to me sob all the way home from Eugene. I'm not good enough. What's wrong with me? Or, she provided a lot of encouragement and, okay, Lay, you need to fix da-da-da-da. I'm like, okay. She's like one of my biggest supporters and I hope to do that for her someday. And, but she's one of a kind. You're a lucky man. Yeah. Lucky man. And I'm the maid of honor. Sorry. Yep. We'll be there. So anyway. Oh, you will be there. Oh, good. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Groomsmen.
So, we'll be there.
That's right.
Yeah. Wow. Be beautiful.
This is not hula, but hey. This is hip hop.
Yeah.
I know, did I talk everybody's ears off?
No, you brought the attention to me, and I don't like that.
We've been trying to get Zach to dance. He did for a temporary, but...
I went to 1 or 2 classes.
Yeah. He actually kept up pretty dang good.
Well, I just found out Zach was into martial arts.
Yeah.
Which makes a little bit more of your stoicness. It makes sense now a little bit more, too, of his confidence and stuff that exudes, which I didn't know.
That humbleness that Gary...
And I've had many teachers, and my favorite one was the one where the nicest thing he would ever say to you is nothing at all.
Yeah.
If you finished a form and he said, okay, do it again. Yes! Nailed it!
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I think James has a little bit of that in him.
Well, that's what I was saying. I feel like I don't know where it came from. I feel I would almost say past lives, and like that it's in my soul to have that kind of like, there's a more ancient way to do this. especially being a white kid from Merced, California, into the hip hop culture. And why am I thinking, I'm juggling. I juggle, I learned to juggle. Girlfriend's parents bought me juggling balls, so I learned to juggle. And there was this overhand claw juggle I was doing that started to think of like martial arts, of like grabbing fists and moving them and then striking on the third fist and going, wow, that's kind of like martial arts. I wonder if this connects to that and this connects to this. I wonder if it's all intertwined, and that's, and with the philosophical mind, I'm going, I wonder if everything intermixes somehow.
Yes.
The underneath of it all, there's some connection that we could say, the Zen of it all,
yes.
the Tao of it all. And I started going, why am I thinking this? Again, this white kid in his bedroom smoking weed in his grandma's backyard.
It's the weed.
It's the loco.
It's the pakalolo.
Pakalolo. And at this time, but I was freeing myself, as I was told, the marijuana as a medicine breaks down
your barriers.
Yes, and I needed to break down what I had been taught. I was taught to be insecure, taught to be, I won't even go as far as racist, but not understanding other race or being willing to open in that way. I grew up with friends of every race around me. I didn't know racism existed till high school. I didn't realize there were problems beyond problems that I did not know existed in society. As I got into hip hop music more, being the minority in that, and realizing, well, I have to fight for my place. Well, this is what people have been doing all their lives in this world if they weren't white people. Wow, what a perspective. And I still feel blessed to this day, to be here now and to be learning. But that I enjoyed, watching Star Wars, the whole Jedi training, the whole idea. It's like, I want to learn martial arts. I want to know that side that was ancient. There's something that calls me to find the ancient in everything. And in these times I'm trying to learn my compassion, because I do have that, I want to learn this way, but at the same time,
you got to be open.
Yes.
To learning in all different ways.
Yes,
it doesn't have to be martial arts. It could be music. It could be dance.
And my music was my martial arts in a way. It was my, like, how do I move into it, and these things. And it's now a time moving up here. I've been up here for a year, and I can already feel the new direction I've been pushed and to what's my next step in learning, and that is to, I believe, to learn the more compassion and to understand how to balance the two, because I've always been imbalanced, juggling, always trying to write left and right-handed, DJing left and right-handed, these things of balance. So I'm being asked to get in balance, and then bring friends who teach me different parts of myself. How do I work with Miles? How do I work with Zach? How do I work with Trip? How do I work with my wife, my daughter? These different people who are here to teach me who I am and how to work with them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love the word martial arts, because the word itself, martial, is also like harness. You're working with the push and the pull. So martial arts, when you think of it like marshaled arts, everything is a push and a pull. If you're very strong in one, then you can work to soften and pull and push and pull. And this is a harnessed art of we can judge ourselves and then learn from that judgment to affect the next, to balance with our own. And that's why I love the concept. I'm always hearing words in a different way, and I love the wordplay. And
do you do bonner dance?
Maybe, but I don't know what that word means.
The way you were moving your arms.
Yeah,
because of modern, I don't know what modern really is. It actually, I'm like, what the heck are they doing up there?
Yeah.
It's not my favorite type of dance, but what I like to see is that the dancers are actually enjoying, and they just make moves up as they go. And
well, then I do that. I make it all up.
That was very modern-esque. I liked
Bonner?
No, it was modern. It was modern.
Oh,
modern.
I'm sorry.
MODERN.
My ears hear different too.
It's like, that's the soap we sell at shopping cart.
But it made me wonder right away when I was thinking, because a lot of this too, I had a couple of lessons with the Tai Chi master who was showing me that they always believed everything, it's a dance of life, right?
Yes.
It's always in circles or half circles. There's a movement, and the juggling led to this, and then the martial arts. This is all the same thing. Well, in hula, is that similar? Are the motions, does it have anything to do with pushing and flowing with energy like waves? Because I guess I don't want to stereotype, but the idea you were doing this kind of thing, right? When right? Does it have to do with energy and motion and pushing and pulling of currents of waves in the motions of the hula dance?
would say so, yes. It's your interpretation of the dance, the story that you were telling. You know, hula is not just moving your hips and moving your arms, and it's actually, you have to connect with the story that you're telling. You know, whether it be about a king or the queen, whether it be about mythology, you've got your Peles and your Hi'iakas, or your animal gods, which are like Kamapua'a, which is the pig. It's connecting to the story. It's when you're dancing about an individual, you know, for me, I like to do research. And then that way that research will come out in my mind as I'm presenting it. I can't just dance a song that I don't know what it's saying. One of the things that's hard for me is I can't learn a dance until I know what it is I'm learning and what story is it that I'm telling. I mean, sure I can, but I'm going to be slow at learning those steps, where there's others that can just learn those steps and have no problems. But for me, I struggle because I need to know what story it is I'm telling. And so, you know, in a way, it's kind of connecting with energy. You're putting that energy out for the audience to absorb. And hopefully, if the song and the dance is good enough, you'll see happiness and clapping, standing ovations, if you're lucky. Or somebody crying, you know, because they felt what you're doing. And when you are able to do that kind of stuff and you grab their attention, then your story is being told. And you're doing a really good thing.
Because hula's like a language, but you're not speaking with your ears.
Right, because, you know, the
speaking with your
Hawaiian
emotion.
people, we never had a
Speaking
written
with your
language.
mouth, sorry.
Speaking with your mouth.
I like the ear one.
The ears listen. You know, we didn't have a written language. It wasn't until Christianity and, you know, America came over and took over and started putting words to our language. The way we communicated was, you know, talking. It was with chanting, you know, it's with dance. You know, we passed on our ancestry through chants and stories. And so that's how things were, we were people of, we just didn't have a written language. Everything was spoken. Everything was danced. Everything was in touch with whatever they touched, how they did things by actions. And so luckily it's now written so that those of us, you know, otherwise it would have been completely lost. Yeah. So.
Which is a conversation for another day. We're out of time.
Are we?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yay, that went by fast.
we actually went a little over.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
So I like to sum everything up at the end. We went everywhere today. So I'm going to say your teachers are going to come from unexpected places. So be open to learning.
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah.
Open minds, open heart.
That's
Jennifer Pu'alelani Kahana Nui, thank you.
Thank you, Zach.
awesome.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us again.
And I forgot to thank Variance Media again.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Thank you,
Trip
Variance.
White.
At Trip
Yeah.
the Photo Guy
Yeah.
from Variance Media.
as we all know, there are people behind us making this happen.
Trip the Film Fantastic.
Yeah.
You're now listening to the sounds of AM.